Hello, welcome to FYBSc Department of Botany. Myself, Dr. J.T. Jadhav, Associate Professor, MSG College, Malegaon Camp. Now we are going to start the FYBSc semester first syllabus. The chapter first of paper second is morphology. This chapter is divided into two parts, that is morphology chapter first and morphology chapter second. Now we are going to start the chapter first. Here, angiosperm, that is the flowering plants. Angiosperms are the most successful and dominant seed-bearing plants of the present day. They show diversity in their morphological characters, that is, in their external and internal characters. Angiospermic plants are simple or complex in structure. They possess reduced gametophytes. They show variation in size. For example, Lemna, Olphia, that are the aquatic plants, are very minute, few in size, while the banyan tree and eucalyptus are a gigantic trees. Angiosperms are in diverse habitat and they show in this slide, which contains three pictures. The upper one is of the banyan tree. This banyan tree is very large, or this is also known as gigantic trees, while the lower two slides, that is of lemna and wolfia, that plants are very minute on fingers. There are large number of plants that are showing in that figure, and hence there is differentiation in its size. They are diversified. There are about 3 lakhs flowering plants. They have undergone evolution in many directions and have attained the morphological diversity. On the basis of fossil records, it has been concluded that they might have been originated long before the Cretaceous period of the Mesozoic era. Angiosperms can be basically classified as trees, shrubs, and herbs. Trees and shrubs are woody and live for many years. That is, they are perennial. Herbs are soft, non-woody, and short-lived plants. Modern taxonomists classify plants on the basis of information obtained from different disciplines like morphology, embryology, anatomy, cytology, ecology, and phytochemistry, etc. Morphological characters helps in identification and classification of plants. Now, the morphology. Here, the term morphology is formed by two words, that is morphe and logos. Here, meaning of morphe means forms and logos means science or to study. Hence, the morphology is a branch of life sciences which deals with the study of forms and structure of organisms, that is, study of external and internal characters of organisms. A external morphology deals with the study of external features of plants. For example, a nature of branching, types of leaves, shape, size, and color of leaves, part of leaves, flower parts, etc. While internal morphology, that is the anatomy, deals with the study of different tissues and their organization in different plant parts. While describing external features of plants, the botanical terms can be used to avoid the lengthening of descriptions. We should learn the meaning of various botanical terms and employ them in describing plants. Some of the botanical terms are described here. For example, in case of stem, branched or unbranched, then the terms are used, that is the monopodial, sympodial, uniparous or monochasial, biparous or dichasial, multiparous, etc. While describing the leaves are also have the different parts. By presence of that part, the leaves are known as petiolate when petiole is present, and when petiole is absent, then leaf is known as the sessile. By this way, the winged petiole, phylloid, simple or compound leaves, then unipinnate, bipinnate, tripinnate, or the presence of the leaflets and number of leaflets, then deciduate, palmate, unifoliate, bifoliate on the basis of the pinna, then acicular, linear, tubular, ovate, lanceolate, cordate, obtuse, retiose, glabrous and tomentose. Here glabrous and tomentose are known on basis of the surface of the leaves, whether surface is smooth or hairy. Then leaf venation, veins which are present on leaves, that is also known as cost. When there is a single, that is known as unicostate. When number more than one, multicostate. Then the traveling of the veins, whether that meet at the point or they are separate from each other, that terms are used as convergent or divergent. Then parallel and reticulate. Here parallel and reticulate, that are the common terms used in many more plants, and this is the characteristic feature of parallel venation and reticulate venation in case of dicotyledons and the monocotyledon. In monocotyledonous plants, the leaf shows reticulate venation, and in case of the monocotyledonous plant, the venation is always parallel. Then leaf arrangement, that is known as the phyllotaxy. Here phyllotaxy defines or known as the natural mode of arrangement of leaf on stem as well as on branch, that are alternate, opposite or whorls or decussate. Here alternate and opposite are common, but the whorls and decussate, here decussate example is observed in a Calotropis procera, that pair of leaves are arranged and there is presence of right angle at the axis, and it forms a special structure that is known as the decussate structure. Then next one is the inflorescence. What is meant by inflorescence? Inflorescence means a natural mode of arrangement of flower or flowers on plant axis or peduncle. This is known as inflorescence. There are two types of inflorescence. First one is racemose and second one is the cymose. But some of the plants shows the mixed type of characters of the floral whorls. Then a third group, that is a special type of inflorescence, is formed. Then types of racemose and cymose inflorescence are raceme, spike, catkin, spadix, corymb, uniparous, cymose, biparous, cymose, etc. Then while describing the flower, on the basis of presence of the ovary and the other floral whorls, this arrangement shows the different types, that is the hypogynous type of flower, epigynous type of flower, perigynous type of flower. Here hypo and epi. Here hypo means above and below the ovary. On the basis of this situation, a hypogynous, epigynous, and sometimes around the ovary, and for that purpose a perigynous whorl is used. Here flowers are also known as complete or incomplete. A flower is formed from four whorls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. When all four whorls are present in the flower, then flower is known as the complete flower. And from these four, any one is absent, that time flower is known as the incomplete flower. When bract is present, the flower is known as the bracteate, and when bract is absent, then this flower is known as the ebracteate. Then the flower parts. Here calyx, it shows the poly or gamo type of arrangement, means free or fused. Then this is known as polycephalous or gamocephalous calyx. In case of petals, the polypetalous or gamopetalous corolla, then androecium and gynoecium. Here morphological characters are taken into account by taxonomists while describing and classifying the flowering plants. For example, majority of taxonomists have classified angiosperms into two major groups, that are dicotyledons and monocotyledons, depending on the number of cotyledons present in the seed. This is very common. When we open the seed coat, then inside it there are cotyledons, and numbers may be 1 or 2. And when a single cotyledon is present, this is known as the monocotyledons, and when 2, that is the dicotyledons. A Swedish botanist, Carl Linnaeus, classified plants on the basis of number and nature of stamens. Then Bentham and Hooker classified dicotyledons into subclass like polypetalae, gamopetalae and monoclamidae. Here polypetalae means petals are free, gamopetalae means petals are fused, and monoclamidae, here monoclamidae means whether petals and sepals are not well differentiated, that time this class is formed for that purpose, and depending on the union or freeness or absence of the petals. For identifying plants with the help of flora, a keys are given for to classify and identify the plants. Here, the morphological botanical terms must be known to a person or students who is interested in the identification of plants. Like Cachia species can be easily identified by their leaves, glands, and other morphological characters than a plant body. The plant axis of a plant body comprises one underground end called the root and aerial part at the other end called shoot. The shoot system is made up of stem and leaves. The root anchors the plant and perform the role of absorption of water and minerals from the soil. The shoot performs the function of conduction, support, and food manufacture. The shoot produces different kinds of birds like apical birds, axillary birds. Here, apical birds are responsible for the increase in the height of the plant. The axillary birds present in the axile of leaves produces the vegetative parts like the branches, leaves, etc. and reproductive parts that are the flowers. The young plants is developed from the seed that is known as the seedling. The shoot system is developed from plumule, that is the embryonic shoot, and the normal root system is developed from a radicle, that is the embryonic root. The plant possesses through the vegetative growth and growth phase, during which the new number, that is the stems, leaves, are produced. The food material are stored in different tissues. The shoot and the root are the vegetative part, and that is clearly seen from this slide. The number of seeds are there. From the first stage, the seed is sowing inside the soil. After that, when it come in contact with the moisture content of the soil, the seed becomes swell, seed coat become free, and it germinates. After that, formation of plumule and radicle, then the root system and the shoot system is developed. After maturity, the plant passes into reproductive phase, during which the flowers are produced. Then the interpretative morphology. Here interpretative word is used for describing the flower parts or plant parts. Here during the course of evolution, many plant parts have undergone modifications. Here modification term is defined as change in structure due to change in function of any plant part. This is known as the modification. When we observe various plants, we come across many modifications. These look similar in outward appearance but may have different nature of origin. In such cases, the interpretation of modified parts is essential. For this keen observation and anatomical study is needed. Let us consider some of the modifications: tendrils, thorns, spines, phylloclad, cladodes, phyllodes, and tubers, etc. The tendrils are developed as an organ for support by many plants. Here tendrils have similar outwards appearance, but in different species their origin is different. Here tendrils of Passiflora are actual auxiliary birds. Therefore, they can be interpreted as modified auxiliary birds. The tendrils of Pisum are actually leaflets. Therefore, they can be interpreted as modified leaflets. Tendrils of Gloriosa superba are interpreted as modified leaf apices. Here, Gloriosa superba is one of the interesting plants. The flower is very beautiful, hence the name which is given, that is Gloriosa superba. Here, tendrils of Antigonum are interpreted as modified terminal parts of the inflorescence. The organs are called analogous if they look similar in outward appearance and perform the same function, but differ in their origin. The above cited examples different plant parts, that is leaflets, auxiliary buds, inflorescence axis, are analogous to tendrils. Organs which differ in outward appearance but possess the identical morphological origin are called homologous. That is, the tendrils of Passifloras are homologous to auxiliary buds. Here phylloclades, cladodes and phyllodes looks like the leaves and perform the function of photosynthesis. They look similar in outward appearance, but their origin is different. They are analogous to leaves. Here phylloclades that are leaf-like structures. We commonly observed the Euphorbiaceae family. This term is new for you because a taxonomic study starts from the Euphorbiaceae. Some of the parts or families that are also covered in your 11th and 12th standards also. But here the xerophytic plants, they show the leaves which are thick and leathery. This is due to formation of the modified cells inside the leaves for to store the water and sometimes food material. Then these apuntia are actually stems and are interpreted as modified stems. The phyllodes of Acacia moniliformis are actually petioles and are interpreted as modified petioles. Thorns and spines look very similar in outward appearance and perform the same function of protection. Thorns of Carissa bougainvillea are actually auxiliary buds or stems. These are interpreted as modified auxiliary buds or stems. Spines of Ziziphus, that is the bear, are interpreted as modified stipules, while spines of Apuntia are interpreted as the modified leaves. These modified parts of the leaves, that is the tendrils which is described, Here tendrils are very well known to us. These tendrils are observed in Cucurbitaceae family. All the types of the cucurbits which are used as vegetables and that are cultivated around our homes. When plant grows, it produces at the end of the axis or top of the axis a thread-like elongation portion which is coiled to the substratum or the plant parts which are used for support it, that is known as the stakes, and on the part of the stakes this tendril forms the coil for to take the shelter of the plant. After coiling it to the plant material or stake, the remaining part, that is the plant axis, that gets strength and the support, and then it shows its height, increase in height. That means tendril is used to support the plant. This is the modified parts. By this way, the first part of the morphology that ends here, the second part will start in next part. Thank you.